evening, afternoon and morning, depending on your time zone. We are here with another video, and this is a viewer request of E5 gameplay. We're actually going to make two videos on this, primarily because the game I ended up playing on Swamp didn't end up too well. Well, I say it didn't end up too well. I didn't use the tank the way it should have been done. So the way I'm going to be looking at the first video is effectively, the tank itself should be an up and front heavy brawler. The recent armor update itself has brought it to be a very, very good tank. The only problem is, it is very, very weak on its own. So, for some reason, no one decided that they were actually going to go on the right hand side. I thought, maybe the heavy and the medium on the base will actually help me out, and it turns out they didn't. So, the first thing we're taking into account when we look at the game is who's actually in the game and who isn't. Is anyone going to come with us, or are they not? Now this is where the I don't like to put it on teammates on us to actually follow me all the time, or anyone, to be honest, up this hill, but no one did, and it's really goddamn annoying. So I thought, okay, I'll load up AP heat shells and I'll go up, and then I thought, no, I'll go back. What we're going to be doing when we're going to be sitting back is playing as a medium, so the tank role has slightly changed. No one else wants to come with me, fair dues, whatever. We'll go back on ourselves. The tank is very, very good, but don't take it into scenarios where you think you can take on the world, because you will get basically screwed over. If you ever come across a tank that can actually flank you and you're being shot at the front, you're pretty much screwed. So we're going to go back and we're going to go play like a medium tank using the hills. I don't like doing this because I don't like the defensive formation that you have on Swamp. Generally, whenever a team sits on the hills, you don't really find yourself winning games very often. But it's the only option I have available to me. People aren't going back, so we're going to have to try and make it work. So the first thing we're going to do is try and spot people on the other side of the hill. This is generally what normally happens, and you can usually get at least one or two good shots onto people that are sat there. As it turns out, not many people on their team are actually doing the same as what we are. So this would indicate that, okay, people aren't sat on the hills like they would normally. They're going around the sides. Apart from Bossy, who doesn't end up lasting very well. The view range on the tank is actually quite decent, and for all the foliage I have around me to cover me, the only thing that's going to end up spotting me is something really close. Point in question, the FV215B. Unfortunately, I can't get a shot on him, so I'm going to roll back just in case I do get hit. But again, I'm not getting hit, so this is starting to throw into question where are the people going. Okay, cheers artillery, prove my point. I hate artillery so much. The next stage of what I'm going to be doing is, okay, where are they going to be coming from? There's 2 or 3 tanks on the left. We're going to go on the right hand side. I'm playing this tank more like a medium and more subdued role, and people are starting to go around the side of the map. Okay, no worries. But there are still big dirty tanks left in the game, and they are going to be covering every opportunity in every spot. As you see on the left, the Conqueror's moving up, but this point here, this is why I didn't go forward. There's an E5, and later on, the Chieftain's there as well. Unfortunately, I don't get a quite good shot on the E5 itself, but we have artillery in the game, we have people that can shoot. If I can't pen the E5's armour, which is very, very likely that I'm going to bounce, why not just aim at another part of the tank? You can see our artillery is located in the bottom right hand corner. They do actually have shots over in that direction, and judging by what's coming and the fact that they are at risk of being hit, they are more than likely to help you out. So this is played more of a case of, right, I may not be able to pen the armour of an E75, I may not be able to pen the armour of an E5. What I will try and do is track people. It doesn't sound like it's going to be very, very useful, but you can see in the bottom right corner, the artillery is telling people that they're reloading. They're aiming in that direction. You can see shells physically going in. Okay, so again, I'm not using the tank as it should be done, using the armour up front. I'm going to be using it as more of a subdued. Later on, when it comes to be that if I was to push forward, I have less to come up against, but I have full health. So it can end up being, in the long run, the end towards the game, you are going to have the advantage of being able to push forward with full health and take on people that don't have that kind of damage. That kind of luxury, sorry, of being able to receive damage. So as it is, I'm again waiting for people in the bottom right corner. I've seen them ready to fire, so I'm going to track the E75, get a lucky shot on the fact it damages him, but I know now that artillery is going to take him out, which it does. So there's not always the case that I need to get damage in the game with the tank itself because of the type of role I'm playing. This has just basically been from the start of the game that I want to try and be aggressive as much as possible and show you what it can do, but in the scenario whereby you have to hold back and you can't go forward, then it's not always the case that you should do. And also, if you are going to push forward, it's like what I am now, be wary of what's actually happening around you. So the Chieftain has moved back, and you can tell because the red round's being fired, that it is him that's doing all the shooting. I am trying to figure out where exactly he is to return fire, but he did move back. I don't actually know why he didn't bother trying to shoot me again, but that's okay, that's by the by. The next stage, what we've got now, we're winning 7-2. We know where 2 of the heavy tanks are, and now we know where the third one is. We know their artillery is on the back of the map, and we know where the other heavy tank is just before, in the same spot in G4. This is where I would start to look at moving forward. My only problem is I don't have the support that I need to go up there, but I have the health. The light tank in E6, I believe it is, E7-ish, yeah, around about that, is what's going to be following me up the hill. I'm looking for the E5, the other one that's been, it should still be there, they're in the platoon together, so they're sort of in that location. They seem to be going back, the E5 ended up going back towards base where the artillery is, but I know that the E5 and the chieftain up top here are relatively low health, whilst the light tank isn't something of an ideal thing. This is the premise of, okay, right, we've got many tanks left on their team, we can actually push and go forward. This isn't the case that you should always play this tank this way. It just happens to be because of the way the game was played at the start, and that people didn't go up here to meet the E5, the chieftain, and the E75. It makes it more of a pain to actually do anything in a game, and it's really kind of boring. But if it gets a win, and somehow we have in some way got a win from sitting back and base camping, then I'll take it. I do load up heat rounds quite regularly for the E5s because the amount of trolling on an RNG basis, it just means that I'm not always going to pen the lower front plate. There is a game I played on Westfield which was very, very similar. Bouncing heat rounds and track damage off them, really goddamn annoying. But heat rounds, I would always use them against E5s because the RNG is so annoying. And just bouncing left, right and centre. The overall feeling for the game was a wow factor, really. I'm trying to figure out what it was that our team did on the other side, but this is just one example of what you can do when you actually end up playing the game in a subdued role. That's the only way I can put it across. And the other thing that's taken into account is that everyone actually did a similar amount of damage. So it was a very much a team game. It's not the best way in which I would say to play an E5, just that if you are forced to do it, you can do, and you play more like a medium, sitting back, and taking the advantage of pushing forward when you have the option available to you, just making sure when you are going to push forward, you're not going to get slammed in the side by a tank like a waffle that you've not seen all game because it's been sat on the corner part. So just let other people go forward, and then you can clean up the rest and get a little bit more XP. I will be putting in the end of the video like an annotation, and I'll put on the more aggressive play of the E5 to show you how well that's actually done. And then you can sort of pick between the packages and see which video suits your style. And then you can also, if you find that you're a more aggressive player, when it does end up being that you find yourself in a game where you're in a backwards position, you're not playing it up front as what you would do, at least then you'll have an indication of how to play it.